Hey guys, Noel here, and it is Thanksgiving. Technically, it's basically like 12:15 in the morning or something. So it's no longer the day before Thanksgiving. What it is the day for is a review of Bloodsport 3, Kumite in Sri Lanka. That's not actually the name of this movie, it's just Bloodsport 3, but it is in fact a Kumite in Sri Lanka. As you may know, I have been laid up. I caught RSV from my lovable daughter, who actually reviewed Bloodsport 2 with me. So this is actually my first YouTube video that's done for fun, kind of back in the saddle. And me and Serafina reviewed the greatest movie of all time, Bloodsport. Santino and I reviewed the unofficial sequel to Bloodsport, Blood Fight. Then Serafina and I reviewed the official sequel to Bloodsport, Bloodsport 2, and now here I am solo reviewing Bloodsport 3, Sri Lankan Super Fight. So I didn't say this in the Bloodsport 2 review with Serafina, but excuse me. Bloodsport 2 is told retrospectively. Alex, the main character of Bloodsport 2 and 3, has a master called Master Sun. And Bloodsport 2 is basically told as a story that Master Sun tells his dojo students about how Alex redeemed himself as a person and won the next Kumite in Bloodsport 2. With the help of Ray Tiny Jackson and the lovable cast of characters in Bloodsport 2. Bloodsport 3 is not a bad movie, but it's not as good as Bloodsport 2. Bloodsport 2 is not as good as Bloodsport 1. In fact, I don't think Bloodsport 2 is as good as Blood Fight, but I think Bloodsport 2 is really good. I loved Bloodsport 2. And I like Bloodsport 3. Bloodsport 3 is also told as a flashback, okay? So rather than Master Sun telling his dojo students about this, guy he knew that started out as a bad guy and turns into a good guy, Alex was the successor of Ryu in Street Fighter, and now we've got Alex, the successor of Frank Dukes in Bloodsport. Alex has a 10-year-old son now, and he's getting in trouble at school, and so what Alex is going to do is he is going to, give some fatherly guidance to his son and talk about the Kumite after the next Kumite. The Kumite he fought in after the Bloodsport 2 Kumite. Now, this movie does not have the, I would say, quality that Bloodsport 2 has in terms of the fact that there aren't a lot of memorable characters in this movie. Bloodsport 2 had memorable characters, right? Ray Jackson came back. So I completely marked out for Ray Jackson's return in Bloodsport 2. I was super happy about that. Master Sun was a memorable character. Pat Morita's character was a memorable character. Sun and Pat Morita do return for this movie, but they're in it for like a total of 3 scenes. And then Alex had like friends who were he had a love interest. There was a girl Kumite fighter. He had a cool black guy who was his friend. In the next Kumite. I mean, there was a cast of good guys, and then there was like the big bad guy demon in Bloodsport 2. This has basically got Alex, the judge from Bloodsport 2. The chubby professor from Sliders, John Rhys Davies, I believe that's his name. I know he was in like Indiana Jones, and I think he was in Lord of the Rings too, but I know him as the professor from Sliders. And he makes a really nice bad guy in this movie. He's like the big evil Kumite backer, right? And he's got this sexy ginger daughter who doesn't really do much other than just make some random appearances in the movie. And the bad guy in this movie is this strong, silent type guy called the Beast. And he looks pretty cool, but he doesn't have any personality. He's a competent fighter, and he looks intimidating. So Frank Dukes, the real-life Frank Dukes, claimed that he was James Bond, like the real-life James Bond, right? He even had his sensei was Senzo Tanaka, who was one of the Japanese guys in You Only Live Twice, right? this movie actually has a James Bond scene to kind of start it out. So we got Alex in the Sean Connery jacket and stuff. I actually think the start of this movie is really, really good. And then it starts to become a little muddled. And one weird thing about this movie is, okay, so Bloodsport 1, Bloodsport 2, the Kumites were spread out, like, over several, like, parts of the movie, right? There was, like, Kumite scene that was, like, a day break. Here's another part of the Kumite. It's, like, day 2 of the Kumite. Kumite's all in one scene in this movie. Like, it's all, like, they basically try to get the plot out of the way and then have a Kumite, and then the end of the Kumite is where Alex fights Beast, okay? The weird thing about this movie is Master Son, they decide to go with a revenge plot, and I really like revenge movies, but I also think they can be symptoms of lazy writing. Sylvester Stallone is one of my all-time favorite Hollywood writers, like absolutely without question, okay? And I love the Rocky franchise. But one thing I'm critical of in the Rocky franchise, and Stallone is a good enough writer so that he can make this work. Okay? So I'm not mad at Stallone when he does this, but when I see him do it, I think he's lazy when he does it. Stallone kills off characters because he doesn't know what else to do. Right? He killed off Mick because he didn't know what else to do. He needed something to add drama, to kind of motivate Rocky. So he killed off Mick. Then he killed off Apollo because he didn't know what to do. He had to get something going so that Rocky would get mad at Drago. Okay, Rocky 5, he didn't kill anyone off, and it was a mediocre movie for reasons that are kind of that's a whole other video, right? It was not a horrible movie after Rocky 6, which was a good movie, but then he killed off Adrian, which would then lead to Rocky 7, Adrian's Revenge, where she comes back as a ghost, right? But this movie does that. They kill off Master Son. Okay. He's in the movie. He gets blown up by a telephone bomb. He has like one scene where he gives dialogue and a flashback, and then another scene where he's just sitting there reading a book, answers the phone, and is like, "Hello." There's that. Pat Morita comes back. He has another scene where he kind of cues Alex to go check out this other guy to train him on his quest for revenge. And it's the judge from the second Kumite, who happens to be Master Son's brother, which they never mentioned in Bloodsport 3, but, like, in Bloodsport 2, but I'm not really mad at that in Bloodsport 3. Like, those kind of things, they happen, whatever. Okay, they're retconning something. It doesn't bother me. There is a whole kind of training session that happens in the Sri Lankan wilderness. Everyone in this movie is Indian, which is not a bad thing at all, but it is very different, right? It's just like the Kumite audience is all Indian. And the announcer at the Kumite, he's got a very thick Indian accent, right? He's like the very relaxing voices you hear when you are talking to technical support for your electronics or trying to get your cell phone set up. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I love Indian people. Diwali's awesome, and I've had, fried bananas that taste like potatoes, and they're fantastic, right? And Hinduism's interesting. But I'm not used to seeing Indian Kumite. It's a very unique thing to see, and not a bad thing to see. It's just got a very distinct flavor compared to Bloodsport 2 and 3, where you looked in the audience and everyone looked like they were from Hong Kong. Now everyone looks like they're from India. But they don't really mention that they're in India, that they're in Sri Lanka, which is near India, so. But I had to do some looking into it, because I was like, where are these people from? Are these Pakistani people? Is there some, are they, maybe they're Burmese or something? But no, this was, I guess, done in Sri Lanka, so. So, cool. The Kumite fighters are not very memorable, okay? And the reason that I say that is because they literally have to have a Kumite announcer announce their names, because if that guy wasn't announcing their names, they would just totally be forgettable, I think. And I'm not saying, and I don't think the Kumite fighters in this are bad, right? I'm just saying, they don't, the first Bloodsport, those fighters, they were also iconic, right? You had Paco, you had the African frog guy, you had the sumo guy, you had Chong Li, you had Jackson, you had. I mean, there was a guy. This guy seems like Viking Samurai. I gotta check it out, but I know he did a video legitimately about each fighter in Bloodsport because even though they had no lines in the movie, there was a guy who looked just like Geese Howard. I'm sure Geese Howard was based on that guy. He was the guy with the big baggy karate pants that Chong Li beat up. Why am I saying this? That Viking Samurai guy did a video, like, I guess doing, like, information about all the fighters in Bloodsport, even though they had, like, no lines. Because even though they had no lines, they were that memorable. Bloodsport 2's fighters, they stood out, but they weren't that memorable, but they still kind of stood out. These guys really don't. They're all basically just karate guys in various length pants with various length hair. And there's one Indian guy who's very bombastic, who Beast kills before his fight with Alex. Alex is kind of interesting. Even though this is a revenge movie, Alex is a very moral character. And I do like that about this character here, because he goes into the Kumite, beats Beast to get revenge for his master, and then does not kill Duvalier, the guy, John Rhys Davies' character, because he's like, that's not going to bring my master back. I proved my point, I'm better than you, and I'm just going to leave, kind of thing. So he kind of took the high road. This plot does get garbled, and I don't really know. I don't think a ton of effort was put into the writing on this, because Duvalier, the guy who's backing the Kumite, the big boss man, right? Okay. The reason he kills Master Sun is because Alex refuses to fight in the Kumite. So he's like, you know what, I'm going to kill your master and force you to fight in the Kumite. I'm going to screw with you, man, and I'm going to make you hate me, and then I'm going to make you join to get revenge because I want you in this Kumite because I want to have the best Kumite, right? That's the start of this. That's the setup, okay? Then, all of a sudden, he's like, I don't want Alex in this Kumite because I've decided to bet a bunch of money on my trump card, the Beast. And I actually think I made Alex too mad and he might beat the Beast. So we have to kill Alex before he comes to the Kumite. Now, I understand that in real life, people are stupid. And particularly, sometimes in real life, murderous, bad people are stupid, right? A lot of the time, the smartest people are the people that just follow the law and take the high road because they realize that it's there for a reason, okay? But usually in these types of movies, the bad guy's like an evil mastermind who thinks he's ahead of the game. But you really see in this movie, the bad guy just so badly miscalculates things that he kind of backs himself into a corner and then is on the defensive. You can like that or dislike that. It is what it is. But it seemed like the writers of this movie were like, okay, we want a revenge plot, but now for some reason we want assassins going after Alex. So I think they had things that they wanted to do in the movie, and then just were trying to scramble for reasons to get them done. Okay? Now, Bloodsport 3 is a movie that I enjoy having on in the background. Alright? It's a cool movie. There's no real love interest. There are girls that like him in this movie. Right? There was that cool brunette girl in Bloodsport 2 that ended up being his love interest, which is probably the mom of the 10-year-old, but they never say that. She's not in this movie. But I don't know. There's the Professor Slider over there and his ginger ninja daughter right there. I don't know. So yeah, what do I think of Bloodsport 3 on a scale of 1 to 10? I would give this movie a solid 7. Seriously. Alright, I don't like it as much as, like, I'm not so over the top about it as I am with Bloodsport 2, Blood Fight, or the original Bloodsport. Here's the Kumite, by the way. It's got a very distinct look. There's, rather than having the runway, there's like a circular ring. So I'll just show you a little bit of what I'm talking about here with the Kumite fighters here. Fighting is very good. I mean, it's not like there's bad martial arts choreography Um, so it's a very competent fighting movie. It does not dishonor the Bloodsport name as far as I'm concerned. But it is definitely lesser than its predecessors. It's something enjoyable to watch. It's something with some plot holes. And this is another thing that I should mention. A lot of people seem not to like the Bloodsport theme that was made for Bloodsport 2 and 3, which is kind of like the Mortal Kombat theme, but with some guy going, Bloodsport, Bloodsport, and then there's this girl saying kickboxing. That I don't know. I don't mind that theme song. It's okay. It's nothing compared to Stan Bush's Fight to Survive, but it's not bad, and it's also not as good as the closing theme to Blood Fight, where they have that power ballad where it's like, "Open your eyes, what do you see?" So I don't know, but this is it's not a bad music here. Here, let's close our review with watching Alex kind of crash the Kumite here. That's Max Omega, uncle of Kenny Omega. No, it's not. I don't know. He is as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. So good stuff. Good stuff. Oh yeah. So I'm sorry. I should have mentioned this. The guy. So Devalier, the guy who's the backer of this Kumite. You might say to yourself, well, maybe he should just bar Alex from entering. But he's got so much corrupt big money involved in this that he knows that the other gangsters won't let him ban Alex because some of them will want to bet on him. So there's that. All right. Well, there's that. Okay, gang. So there you have it. That is my review of Bloodsport 3, the Sri Lankan super fight. Until next time, guys, my name is Noel. You take care. You can check out Bloodsport 3 actually on YouTube if you want, or check it out on Amazon. I'm thinking I might review Bloodsport 4, but I'm going to tell you right now that movie is a gigantic pile of hot garbage that completely dishonors the name Bloodsport. But I'll check it out for you guys. Bloodsport 3, pretty good, not as good as its predecessors. Until next time, guys, my name's Noel. You take care, and I will see you in the very near future. Bye-bye.